Please welcome Joe and Aaron.
Welcome to episode 15 of The Journey. And for all of you joining us on the live stream, this is a very exciting moment. We are based in the Powerhouse Museum tonight, a special AGDA event. Let's just have a look at all you guys. Big clap, please, for the live studio audience. Episode 15. How did you enjoy the first 14 episodes? Anybody? Yeah? Well done. So you've all seen the first 14 episodes, right?
No.
No? Can we roll that first episode? Shall we take it back? Come on, let's go back to episode 1. So some of you have heard that we're building a new product. Maybe we're doing a rebrand. Maybe some stuff is happening. This might be true. I can't confirm or deny it, but I can take you on a journey with us and show you some things. So it's been a journey, you see. We're a 15-year-old software company. We produce project management software for creatives. Does anyone here use Streamtime by any chance? Big show of hands. If you don't, you should see me at the end. Now, our product was kind of becoming, I guess, we're at the peak. You know, we're 15 years old. We had $5.5 million of revenue. We had offices in London, Belgium, Sydney, Melbourne. I'm based in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thousands of customers all over the world. But we were very fast becoming a dinosaur in the industry. You know, the sort of clunky old project management software that you all hate using, timesheets, those kind of things. They were nasty. So I kind of felt like we needed to update our look and our image and our brand. And I actually went along to a little company who's just down the road from me in Christchurch called Sons & Co. Some of you might have heard of Tim and Matt from Sons & Co. And I said, can you guys build me a website? And they said, no, we can't. And I said, why? And I said, that's not what you need. You don't need a website. You need to actually look at your product, and you need to you need to go much deeper than just a website. We can make it look pretty, but it's like putting lipstick on a pig. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, who's going to do this for me? Who can do this? And he directed me to three guys who just started this new agency here in Sydney called For the People, Andy, Damien, and Jason. And he said, look, see these guys, they're great guys. I met them at an AGDA event, actually. And, you know, they're great, they're perfect. You get on really well with these guys. I said, okay. So I sent this email, and I'll come to that in just a second. Just going back to the...
I'm on that side.
The at the peak, you know, this is where we were at the peak of our 15 years. You know, we're on the front page of apple.com. That's our app right there. We were one of the first apps to be in the App Store. We actually made an app before there was even an App Store, which is pretty cool.
You were in the design, in the business section. You were like this, Salesforce, Streamtime, and then others that probably died.
Yeah, there was Oracle's, Salesforce and Streamtime. We were the only business apps. There was lots of fart apps. But anyway, I needed more than a website. I needed to take the product, obviously, I was told, and needed to start there. So I sent this big email to Damien, Andy, and Jason, and I kind of thought, I'm really going to have to sell the idea of these guys working with me, because why would they want, they're a really cool agency, why would they even want to look at our product? Why do they even want to have timesheets? They hate timesheets. So I literally kind of pleaded my case with them, and I flew over to New Zealand expecting to meet the three of them, the three as I now know they're called. And it sort of turned out that they couldn't all come. And I had a presentation, I had a keynote to present to them to convince that, you need to work with me, or I need to be able to, be your client. And so Andy rings up and he says, look, the other two can't make it, but I'll come and I'll see you soon, and really casual. And he comes in, he sits down, and I have my keynote ready, and I run through my slides, and I kind of take him through the whole history. And at the end of it, I think Andy's just like, okay, that's cool. And I'm kind of thinking, well, did we get to be the client? And he's like, oh, we'll be in touch, and he goes. And I'm freaking out. I'm really freaking out. This is what our product looked like, This is what I kind of showed Andy. These are some of our competitors that are out there in the landscape. It's a dinosaur. It looks horrible. Horrible looking piece of project management software. And
we needed to start there. And I was thinking, Andy's no way. He's going to go back to the other two, and they're going to say, we've got to keep away from this. This is awful. We don't want to do this. We don't want to be part of this. He'll make us use the product. It'll be awful.
We should say that For the People was prided itself on never doing timesheets, and we don't need client managers. So it was a very big thing to bring a project management software tool to For the People, because we're like, we're not going to use timesheets. So making this something that our staff could use was also a big thing for us.
And the subject of that email, I don't know if you read it, but it was, we want to be better. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of became my kind of main mantra was, we want to be better. And I was asked to kind of drill into that a bit more, and it's like, well, we want to be on the must-have list of every creative, we want to be up there lined up with all these guys. And that was really important. And it was as simple as that. I didn't sort of come to them with, we want to double revenue, or we want to increase clients or anything. We want to be better. I guess we want to serve our clients well. So some time went by, and if you watch those episodes 1 to 14, you get a lot of detail on that. But this is my first meeting with For the People, and they kind of had this presentation for me, which just really a casual sit around. They explored all the different software that was out there, some of the competitors that are out there. They kind of...
What were you expecting
dug in.
That meeting?
I don't know. I had no idea. I guess one thing I knew for sure was there was never going to be a ta-da moment. Jason had assured me there's no ta-da moments. It's a process. It's a journey. And that's why the video blog series is called The Journey, because I blogged every single part of the event.
This is why we have excellent footage.
That's why we have all the footage.
Yeah.
That's why you can go online and watch it. They're only about 5 minutes each, but they really do take us through that really raw journey. And I think one of the things that I've loved with For the People is the fact that they would have this little session like this, and I'd be in New Zealand, and they'd film it on their iPhone, and they'd sort of send me the unedited raw footage, which was often terrifying, but also exciting. What they kind of distilled down at the very beginning was the sort of these basic, I guess, attributes, would you say? Insights from everything.
These came from a bunch of interviews. So we did a bunch of interviews with people that currently use Streamtime, that we're calling Streamtime Classic. But we also we're in the industry. It's for the creative industry, and we happen to be in the industry. So try not to get biased, but there's certain truths that, like timesheets, for instance, are a loose metric, and acknowledging that timesheets are only accurate if the data that gets input is accurate. But how many people do a 7.5, 7.5, 7.5 on Fridays? Everyone's guilty of that. So then the project seems to be on track, when actually, no, it is BS. And it's for creatives, make it fun. That was another one. It's like we are in a era where all of the software that we use is really nice and fun. And as you could see on the previous slides, Streamtime was not any of that. It just looks like a spreadsheet from hell.
It was a Frankenstein piece of software. There was 15 years. It was
exactly.
It did everything. It did everything. But it really did nothing.
We tried to narrow it down to, and this is definitely putting people in buckets, but designers and client managers and exec, and almost like understanding what features are relevant for whom. So that's part of the process, and very, very simplified for this slide. Yeah. And
I think the thing that I got really excited was when they showed me this, which is they said, well, we did this exploration, and we looked at your brand, and we looked at your product, and we said, what would Streamtime look like if it was done by, say, Nike? Mm-hmm. Or what if it was done by Google? Or what if it was done by Twitter? Or what if it was done by The Economist? And there was all this stuff up on the wall and little snippets, and this was really interesting. And then they showed me some wires, and like this is how Streamtime might look, or project management might look. If it's done by a fitness app, it's all about goals and tracking.
Closing your circle.
Add your time, close your goals, exactly. Then what if it was a newspaper that did it, like The Economist? It would be all about the daily brief and the money section and the news section, and it might look something like this. And then what if Twitter did it? It would be more about the activity feed of things. And this this really got us all thinking, and I think that's part of the exciting part of the creative process. It got me thinking, but it also very quickly got me on board with their type of thinking, because it's, there was no save everything and here's the presentation, here's your new product, here's your new brand, here's your new logo. It was like, this is what we've discovered and this is what we know. And
I still really like this one. Even though we're not going to go out and compete with Twitter, it was like the reason why I liked this one, and particularly the team kept on developed it to wires, was because timesheets always happen like as a group. So for instance, if I'm in a meeting, then why on earth does every single person that was on the meeting have to log it in? It was like, okay, if I'm with Andy, Aaron, Jason, whatever, just one person mentioned it, and just that logs time for everyone. So it was like kind of that type of thinking was what we were getting out of these. We weren't really going to create a Twitter or this is another one, a calendar approach.
And calendar's been done before,
Exactly,
I think
yeah.
they presented this, I've seen this before, in fact.
You're saying that about everything.
I know, exactly. I've seen everything. So this is really interesting. I have a whole side story that I'm not going to get into tonight, but maybe at the pub. But we actually even came up with something like this, and I even presented it to a really large client in Melbourne. And then one of our competitors was also pitching, and that client presented what I'd pitched to that developer, that other company, and they went and built something very, very similar to this. So I kind of wanted to steer away from this. But then you'll see, I think it's like episode 6. You'll see like there's the camera kind of drops to the ground, and there's some bits of paper scattered on the ground, and one of them was this one. And I'm like, and they're just like, oh, by the way, and then maybe like, what if it was a to-do list? And this thing, and it was just sort of down there. It was one of the last things. It was a thing. I was like, stop. This is amazing. Like, there's something about this that I instantly loved. I don't know what it was, but I liked the idea that timesheets were flipped on their head. It was no longer about waiting till Friday to do the timesheet. Now the whole system that you logged into worked for you, and you could kind of set your daily goals of what you were doing, and then that sense of completing something is just, this scientifically proven that it works.
Is it?
Well, three out of 4 scientists have proven that it does work.
But
but to Aaron's point is that the people who use it currently are relatively happy with the interface and how it works. You go here, they're disorientated, because this doesn't sound like the brief that when he stood here and said, well, what about my current job? What are we doing to answer that?
Yeah, so this was like the end of the video that they sent through.
I remember we discussing, should we cut this bit out of the video? Because we were sending this video, it was like an hour and a half, and we're like, Damien, why? And we were discussing inside, like, should we cut this side of video? Because, Aaron will see this, and we're like, let's leave it, let's send it over. And we were really terrified because we had gone rogue, pretty much. Aaron had given us a very specific brief, and here we are talking about his product. If it were Twitter or Nike, and just spent weeks planning these, this wireframe, so it could have gone, we could not have been standing here.
Absolutely, and Damien's got a really good point. Like, he's trying to look at it from the client's perspective. Like, this is crazy. Like, remember, we had like 7,000 or 8,000 existing customers who we also wanted to migrate to this new way of thinking, and their way of thinking is this sort of style. This is our previous designs that we had actually built out a system. I was expecting these guys to just say, hey, here's a website, here's a logo, boom, that job done.
Here's a new UI.
Yeah, and they're starting. So this was a sort of a more traditional type timesheet that we were about to build, or we had built some of it. And this was turning everything on its head. So it's quite scary. I think it's ballsy, I guess, to suddenly sort of pick up a product and sort of say to our whole clients, yeah, timesheets, we don't do timesheets anymore, even though we're actually a timesheet system. So we've kind of thrown away the one core thing the one reason you bought it. We don't have that anymore.
Aaron did decide to go for a to-do list. So off we go, exploring what this would look like. We had Matt, Sam, and myself did physical analog to-do lists for, I think it was 3 weeks. And every Friday we would record this and again send it over to Aaron. Those were mine, all pretty. I'm a designer, so I was like corner and hierarchy, etc. And at the end, Matt and Sam would ask me questions about why I did such a thing, or which ones would, like, there were no rules at the beginning, so it was like, why would you put the client first? What was the job? Do you tag people in? Here I was discussing about checklist within. So
And it's worth adding as well, Joe, that one of the other sort of, I keep changing what the brief was, but one of the other parts of the brief was, I want to build a system that for the people will use. And you're like, yeah, we don't do timesheets. And it's like, well, but we don't have a system. You know, we use Trello and whatnot. And I was like, no, I want you guys to use it. So you did.
And I remember this was Matt's, and Matt literally, you know, he had a lot of work during that time, and he was just going up the roof, and what was really good about this was a huge posters was that everyone at For the People could see that Matt had a lot of work. So that was also a really good thing. It was like, oh, don't put Matt, and you look around at the wall, and it was like, yeah, but when is Matt going to do any of this? So not only did the insights come out of us working this together, but also of like other people kind of asking questions and why this. Then Sam decided to ditch the analog version, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. There's a product called Clear It, and you can create a couple of lists, and he was just trialing basically what we were trying to do.
Moving paper around like caveman. Like it was a fucking.
So a little explanation. Sam has ditched the analog to-do list to show us his new virtual to-do list, and he says that we're going to be really impressed.
Not
Let's
impressed.
see, look, Matt is clearly not impressed.
Not impressed. I was like, we wasted so much time moving paper and drawing pretty cards. So I found out that Clear It, which you may have heard me talk about, allows you to drag tasks between lists.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a list for each day.
Yeah.
And did that as my to-do list. So I've got some things I haven't done, but you can see my done pile. Oh, hello's not actually one of them, but you can see the tasks that I did that day. I can undo them if I want to. I need a mouse for that actually. No, that's not right. It's not selling well.
And even at this sort of really early stage, you know, this prototype hacking, I suppose you'd call this, right? Like, in a way, I didn't even see this video, by the way. So this is the first time I've seen this one. But yeah, this is really cool. And when you see our finished product, which I don't know if you will tonight, it's very similar to this.
So that's where we were off, and then there's the whole exploration of interface, and we went, like I just grabbed a couple, but this was just purely from a UI perspective.
I remember the first presentation of this, right? So
Yeah.
it was actually just Andy and Sam, and it was a video call, and they're like, hey, we're going to show you what we've done. I'd seen the wires already, but we're going to show you what we've done. And I was sort of thinking Notre Dame moment, but they're going to show me this stuff. And so they pull up the screen, and it was none of these. It was slightly different to all of these, but it was basically this sea of red at the top and a sea of green at the bottom, and lots and lots of to-dos. And it was like, wow, like I hated it. I really hated it. And I'm being really nice. Andy's smiling, going, yeah, so what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, Kai was with me. What do you think? And I'm like, I just didn't want to say. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't quite sure how this process worked. But that's the rawness of it all, because it underwent many iterations after that.
Well, and then we just started having fun with the brand itself. So this never went ahead to nowhere. I actually just discovered it was during the presentation. It's like, we had that. But it was like getting to shift people's mindset on like getting rid of a task is as easy as like completing a Tetris or like killing these aliens. Or this was completely just, Matt would say that doesn't work, Joe, and it doesn't. But it was the idea of like having fun with the brand. And we also included a little character called Tiny Aaron. This is a version of him in Tiny. And he started appearing in the product and appearing in the marketing and pretty much just calling bullshit on all the things that we were calling bullshit on for the product, especially timesheets, one of them. In parallel, when to become one, I was not listening
Chapter
to Spice Girls.
4.
Yeah. Building this product. It's like in parallel of building this product, we were we were doing the marketing side, and there's like a bazillion things happening at the same time. So building this was pretty much, we had to work really closely with Streamtime and the devs. And I've been only showing the to-do list on purpose, but the Streamtime is quite robust. So having to come up with all of these screens, inventing, I still remember like inventing buttons, and at the same time the buttons were synced to the InVision that were synced to the devs at Streamtime, which meant that every single decision I'd make would inform them, and they'd grab the stuff and then just like build it.
I think we should talk about the time frame, because
Yes.
I think this sort of stuff, how long would you imagine this might take from the time I first met them to the time we ship a completely, fully built, working product? How many months, say, or years? How long? Somebody. There's a prize in it. 9 months to a year? And I think that's reasonable, right? So I met these guys in September, 2 years ago. And then by the time we kind of went through all the politry things and you know, the meetings and initial research and stuff like that, come December, I think it was even probably late November, Joe was already starting to turn wires into actual designs. And our developers, by the way, they started in about July before that September. Like we'd already built stuff like the billing system and the way that the way you add and remove users and things like this. So so Joe was really working full steam, and so that was sort of November. She worked through December and January, February, March, and then April we shipped our product. So and I had this April 1st deadline. I kind of love the idea. April 1st, no joke. You kind of get it. And we did. We absolutely shipped, and it was amazing. But
So
you've got to see another episode for that.
One of the things that we had to get right from the start, which we didn't, was a workflow, which is what I was talking about. Getting a really right set of software that linked to each other. We had like all sorts. At the beginning, we had Trello, we had Slack, we had emails, we had Go Meeting, like so many like things that just don't talk to each other. So the best way was the devs are in Sydney. So I was just working side by side, but to connect to the cloud was InVision, was connected to, my sketch was connected to InVision, which was connected to the computers. And that's important simply because one day I get to work and Alan says, do you know why the source files have disappeared from InVision? And I just like, oh my God, I freaked out. This is me freaking out. So nothing there, then Pi jumps in and he's like, this might have something to do with what you did last night. And I was like, what did you do? Oh God, they've disappeared now from my computer. So because everything's synced, it means that it's all cool when everything works. But when one of the sides takes something out, we were screwed. I have no idea why I saved backed up these things. I don't do good practices. So this was just pure luck, but it was good because it was months of work. And that's what made me think that every decision I make informed back then the development schedule, the evolution of a product that I don't own, and the commercial success of a company that I care about. So I could really fuck this up. When I was feeling the pressure, I don't know if you noticed that, but I was.
Yeah, you were definitely under pressure.
But it took a lot of things. Like I'm just talking about the product, but at the same time, the entire team was I think 4 of the people was only working on Streamtime back then. We did a lot of video records. So these were screen records where once something had gone out, Aaron would be like, I don't think this works. And I'd reply back by just like showing screen recording. We had bazillion Skype calls, and just like pretty much our offices kind of merged into one.
Yeah, the process was definitely challenging, being in those sort of 3 locations, with me being stakeholder in New Zealand, these guys in their small office, and video and Slack, they made this stuff work really, really well. We were just in that constant communication, and our dev team were amazing. Like they would do some changes, they'd push it to live, we would all see it straight away. So big shout out to them.
And at the same time, some of the guys at For the People were also working on how do we launch this? So how do you take it to market, and working on the side scroll or on everything else aside from the product. And then we eventually launched.
What's Streamtime? It's project management for humans. And humans are short on time, so let's keep this real snappy. Planning jobs. You pick your team, you estimate your hours, and you set deadlines. Simple, intuitive. Then you track your team's progress with clear visual indicators that let you know whether or not your project's on time and on budget. Quoting. Just click this button on the job plan. Click. Quote generated. Your to-do list. This shows you what you need to do this week, and it's all automatically scheduled based on your team's job plans and deadlines. Then you drag things from to-do to done, and bam, time recorded. No more filling out timesheets like a chump. Team scheduling. Want to know what your team is up to? Ta-da! It's right there. Want to edit your team member's task for them? Do it. We won't stop you. Reporting. Now, with no useless bits. Time and expenses are broken down in a clear, easy-to-follow way. Invoicing. Press this button to send a job plan to Xero for invoicing. Nice button pressing, champ. That's Streamtime. Sound good? Great! Then start your trial. In the meantime, we'll be working on making it even better.
So this was great. So this was what we kind of handled this on launch, didn't we? And this was awesome. My team was pumped. We were all so excited. My existing clients were not really, we didn't keep them in the loop as to what we were doing. And we did that intentionally because we knew this would freak them out. This is such a radical change. They would just think we've gone completely nuts. And also just because it's best that I don't communicate with any of our clients because things go bad.
And I think we didn't want to stop the presentation on like we launch and everything's pretty and here are the results because that's not what a launch looks like. No. So quite quickly Aaron sends this. Andy and Joe, I feel dirty even asking this, but if I had $1 for everyone who asked for it, I'd have more money than subscription revenue. Does adding a timer to track time spent, start, stop, to do means I've sold my soul to the devil? I feel the backsliding started the day I allowed job numbers. Please help me get back on the right side of the fence. P.S. For my sins, I have started watching Damien's video for Soul Time Daily. So this is amongst many, many messages that we were getting from actual feature requests because we had just launched something that was very
minimal.
And it is quite easy to fall in the trap of like, okay, just answering any type of feature. Yeah. So that was one. And then Brexit happened.
Brexit. Yeah, so keep in mind, when we launched on April 1st, 2 years ago, we made a conscious decision to stop selling and turn off our old product, the website. So we still retained all the clients. We still have them all today. But we thought we're going to turn that off because it will be too confusing to have two products that kind of different messaging. So we made this cutover. And in fact, just the whole cutover process was terrifying as well. You know, the day we did the website switch over, and then I look on Google to see where our ranking is, and we're just gone overnight from Google. So that was a bit of a panic for the devs. But you know, this switching off was also it turns out, was quite a ballsy thing because, you know, suddenly we're not selling the old product. That's where all our bread and butter, that's where the money comes, you know, from. I don't even know whether anyone's going to buy this new product yet. So, and by the way, it was much cheaper as well. It was like $15 or $10 per user instead of 50 or 60. So big changes. Well, by the way, the Brexit thing, just to touch on that. So so that happened later in the year because nearly 50% of our clients are in the UK. And we're a New Zealand company, so we sell in pounds. And there was this thing that happened, Brexit. And it turns out to be a really bad thing for exporters because overnight we lost, it was actually nearly $500,000 in revenue, just like that, gone. And we'd already stopped selling the old product. So this was not a good thing to suddenly, you know, be $500,000 gone from your revenue. We needed that. I had to make some really awful decisions, the worst in my 15 years. I had to get rid of 5 of my staff, and we had to close down our London office, and that was terrifying and it was awful. But in order to kind of survive and keep going, I had to make some of these sort of horrible choices. So yeah, looking back, looking forward. Keep going to the next slide. So this is kind of where our signups are starting to sit now. And this is just in the last few months. You know, what we're seeing is those greens every month. Many of our classic clients are starting, so we're calling them classic clients, the previous clients are starting to migrate across. They're starting to see this new product and engage with it. And they're loving it. Like we do a lot of surveys. I'll talk about the Net Promoter Score survey that we do. We actually did a Net Promoter Score sample survey of our existing clients before you guys started.
Yes, I remember seeing the NPS score.
It was awful. Like people would get, how likely are you to recommend your product to a friend or colleague? 1 to 10, 10 is highly likely, or 0. We were getting lots of zeros, lots of 1s, 2s. Like everything was in the red. It was embarrassing to even calculate that score. We did an NPS, and we run NPS constantly now. And actually, go to the comments one for a second on NPS. But these are the kind of comments that we're getting now: 10s and 9s, absolutely amazing comments that people are writing, and it's changing lives, and it's really, really exciting to see.
I think what's really cool, we are working with Streamtime again now, a year after the launch, or 2 years, and even on the NPS score, the ones that mark it as a 5 or a 4, it's super interesting to see why they're doing that. So they write a comment, and often the comment is either a feature request, so it's like 5, get me this feature and I'll give you an upgrade. Ignore those. But there's the others that are like, you really don't have this, and I think it's valuable for the way I run the business, etc. But I'm really hoping that you'll release that soon, etc. So it's like there is still an investment on Streamtime. So it's very weird. It's weird, even negative comments.
If you want to go back to the revenue one, so I'll show you in the blog series, and even here tonight, I'm completely transparent with numbers. Like this is our annual recurring revenue in New Zealand dollars of the new product from November 2016 right through to present day. So right now, 2 years on, we're making about $500,000 in annual recurring revenue from the new product. The product itself, I calculated roughly, including all the costs. This is not just for the people costs at all. This is actually all our own costs, the additional staff that we need, the devs and so on and so forth. Sort of somewhere between $5 and $6 million I've probably spent so far, and I'm getting back $400,000 a year. So it's not for the faint-hearted building a product. If I didn't have the old product to support this habit, because that's what it feels like. I would be dead, or I'd need I'd have a lot of investors. It's a privately owned company, and I kind of like it that way. So yeah. This is kind of just showing the split at the moment of the blue is the new Streamtime, and this is the revenue coming in from our classic Streamtime. And this is showing the user base of the new product. What's really interesting, and we're just constantly iterating on all these things, is that about just over a quarter of our clients are actually single user freelance type personas, which is really interesting. And then everybody else is in a team.
This is really interesting, simply because back in the old previous slide where I showed you client managers and designers and the exec, we had the assumption that the people that were going to use Streamtime were big companies. And knowing this, even that there's a big percentage that are 1 or 1 to 5, means that all of that needs to be not rethought, but you need to, what are the needs of one that is the designer, is the client manager, is the decision maker, and that changes habits, and that changes all the user behaviors that we're currently checking on Streamtime. We also got, industry recognition, so it was really good, I think.
This is how you get on the must-have list, right?
Yeah,
you get a pencil. Wow, they don't even know what that is. Do you know what it is? Okay. That's pretty awesome, and I think that's pretty awesome. And these guys done an amazing job for that. You got Agency of the Year, was it last year? I know it was largely because of the work that you did with us. I know this because all we did was work with you. Best awards, some golds and stuff like that. And there's a pinnacle, I think, over there. Yeah. Which was awesome.
And even
more to come too next week.
And I think the best ones were the NPS score. Yeah. And what we're doing now, so we are working with Streamtime again, and this is almost like a sneak peek of what's happening behind the scenes. We're working on the native app currently, and doing some prototypes. We've been just testing a bunch of these with Streamtime users, and it's super exciting. Still loads to happen.
Going to get back on that apple.com page again.
I know. Is that your next brief? Is that this brief?
I don't know. Well, you said you're going to get a Pixel, So you're dead to me.
That's it, guys. Thank you so much. Come on.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Aaron. It was amazing. Has anyone got any questions? We'll spend a couple of minutes doing questions before we get into our last talk.
No, good.
We have one here. Aaron?
Did you do the voiceover for the launch?
Amanda did, so she's one of the first people. Yeah.
Can you say what's Streamtime?
What's Streamtime?
Yeah. I have a
She's
question.
available, by the
I
way,
have a
for
question.
voiceovers.
Was there a moment where you regretted, or did you ever have a doubt? I know you did. That we were the right fit, and what was that moment?
Yeah, all the time. all the time. Right fit, maybe incompetent might have been. You know, are you guys competent enough for this? Because the reason is this is my baby. You know, this is 15 years of my life I've devoted to project management software. I mean, how boring is that? And these young whippersnappers come in and they take my product and they say, you know, we're going to change it all, and by the way, we're not even going to use it ourselves. So yeah, there's definitely those moments. A lot of my doubt, though, does come from, you know, my childhood, and there's a whole lot of other stuff and antitrust and things like this. But generally speaking, yeah. But I think I absolutely love the creative process, and
Even though you were scared.
yeah, but
Even though you saw that red yet green, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, but the creative process is scary. It is scary, you know. I'm doing an architecture project at home personally at the moment with an architect, and he's like you guys, but he's the architect version, and he's completely kind of nuts, and he's out there, and you know, he has these great lofty visions, and they're awesome, and I have to completely trust him because I know that what he's going to produce is gold, just like I trust you guys. And I think that's in the client side, you do have to give over that trust. Otherwise, I might as well just do this all myself, right? Let you guys do it. So it's pretty exciting.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Please give a round of applause.